Before we start, we would like to share with you the new policy that we have concluded in our meeting last night. During the halaqah, during the time of halaqah, which is usually 25 minutes, about that time, all kids 9 and above have to be in the main hall. So all kids 9 and above have to be in the main hall for the duration of the program. Once it has ended, then they can go back and play. But during the time of the program, all kids 9 and above have to be in the main hall. And that includes adults too, who are just standing outside. They are 9. They are above 9. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قال الله تبارك وتعالى: وإذ قال عيسى ابن مريم يا بني إسرائيل إني رسول الله إليكم مصدقا لما بين يدي من التوراة ومبشرا برسول يأتي من بعد اسمه أحمد فلما جاءهم بالبينات قالوا هذا سحر مبين. صدق الله العظيم. اللهم صل على سيدنا مولانا محمد كلما ذكره الذاكرون وصل على سيدنا مولانا محمد كلما غفل عن ذكره الغافلون. اللهم صل وسلم على عبدك ورسولك. اللهم صل على سيدنا مولانا محمد أفضل صلواته. We know that this is the month of Rabi'ul Awwal. Islamic months have their own distinct names. And each month, more or less, has some significance from Islamic perspective. Not from historical perspective, because that is not of any concern to us. But from an Islamic perspective, most months in our calendar have some significance. Like the month of Ramadan has significance because of fasting, because of zakat. The month of Shawwal has significance because of Eid. The month of Shawwal, Dhul Qa'dah and Dhul Hijj have significance because of Hajj. The month of Muharram has significance because of Ashura. So the month of Rabi'ul Awwal has significance in our hearts and in our minds because it is a month which is known to be the month of the birth of our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And after Allah's remembrance, there is nothing greater than the remembrance of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. As a matter of fact, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who's actively sending blessings upon Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Inna Allah wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi. Verily, Allah and His angels are sending blessings upon the Prophet. Allah's sending blessing is Allah's act of sending mercy upon our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam at all times, without any distinction of day or night. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is constantly sending His mercy upon our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the angels are also doing their salah upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And their salah upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is their dua to Allah, "O Allah, send your blessings upon Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam." By the way, angels say the same thing that we say. What do we say? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. O Allah, send your blessings upon Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Allah's angels also ask Allah, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Oh Allah, send your blessings upon Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now imagine how many angels are there in the universe. Trillions and trillions and trillions of angels are in existence, are alive in this universe. And all angels of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are always making this dua to Allah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. In addition to that, you would be happy to know that they're doing something else as well. Do you want to know what they're doing? وَيَسْتَغْفِرُونَ لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. They're asking Allah, oh Allah, forgive the believers. Allah, forgive the believers. يَسْتَغْفِرُونَ لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. They're always asking Allah, oh Allah, forgive the believers. Then there are angels who are making dua for you on certain occasions. When you have done something noble, something praiseworthy, the angels are also asking Allah, oh Allah, give the reward to this believer that he deserves or that she deserves. So Allah's angels are always making this dua to Allah, oh Allah, send your blessings upon Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And we do the same. We are required to do the same. Our prayer, our salah will not be valid without invoking blessings upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you did not invoke blessings upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in your salah by saying Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallayta ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma barik ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama barakta ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Your salah will remain invalid. You know why? Because it's wajib. It's obligatory to invoke blessings upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in your salah. It's one of the required acts of your salah. That's how important sending blessings upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that your salah is not accepted by Allah without invoking blessings upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And in one hadith, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whatever dua you make to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala remains suspended between the heavens and earth until you invoke blessings upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When you invoke blessings upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then that dua begins its ascension to heavens. And it reaches the throne. It reaches the arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala without being accompanied by salat ala nabi or durood. Your dua does not get to the arsh, does not get there to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's how important it is to invoke blessings upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was born in a year which was known due to a very historical and well-known event among Arabs. Arabs were not particular about keeping track of their calendar. They didn't really have a calendar by numbers like we have in our time. We have Islamic calendar, we count every year, 1446, 1445, 1444. We can go back all the time, all the way to the beginning of Islamic calendar. And then further back to the beginning from where the Prophet ﷺ received prophethood and he started preaching to the people. We have all that with precision. We have very precise Islamic calendar. But Arabs were not really known for having an established calendar. Rather, they would refer to the years based on some event that had happened, some significant event that had happened. So sometimes it would be in reference to a notable personality that had died, a famous person that had died. So they would say that was the year of that person who died in that person. Or a year in which something significant had happened. Exceptional floods, or exceptional rains, heavy rains, or storms, or things like that. So, the year of the birth of our beloved Prophet ﷺ is known among Arabs as Amul Fil, the year of elephants. And why is it called the year of elephants? Because that was the first time in the history of Arabia, in the history of Makkah perhaps, when the residents of Makkah saw something as mighty, as massive, like an elephant for the very first time. Elephant is not native to Saudi Arabia. You know that, right? You don't have elephants in Makkah, you don't have elephants in Medina. They do have something called camel. And that is also a wonderful creature of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah says, أَفَلَا يَنْظُرُونَ إِلَى الْإِبِلِ كَيْفَ خُلِقَتْ. Do they not see the camel? How it has been created by Allah? It's a marvelous creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A camel. But they do not know anything about elephants. At least at that time, they did not know anything about elephants at that time. So when for the very first time elephants were brought in the vicinity of Makkah, they were surprised and shocked to see something as mighty, as powerful, as big, as strong, as heavy as an elephant. But that's not the only reason why they called the year in which they had elephants around Makkah as the year of elephants, but rather it is because of something else very significant that happened in that year. And that is the event which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about in Surah Al-Fil in Quran. لِإِيلَا أَلَمْ تَرَ كَيْفَ فَعَلَ رَبُّكَ بِأَصْحَابِ الْفِيلِ. Did you not see what Allah did, your Lord, to the people of elephant? And so the story of that became the story of Arabia. There was a man called Abraha who ruled Yemen. He was the governor of Yemen, and he was, according to some, under the rule of the king of Abyssinia, who later converted to Islam, Najashi. So Abraha was someone who was under the rule of Najashi, but he was a governor of Yemen. So he was disturbed by all the attention that Makkah was getting due to the house of Allah being located, being situated in Makkah, the Kaaba, which Ibrahim a.s. had built. So someone suggested to him that maybe if you build something fancier, something more attractive than Kaaba in your place, in Yemen, so maybe you will be able to attract all the Arabs to your place, and you will beat the number of visitors of Makkah, and you will be able to attract more visitors here in Yemen. So he was all about bringing more people to Yemen. So he decided to put a lot of money into building a kanisa, a church. It was a church built with gold, with silver, with expensive stones, diamonds, and all of that. It was perhaps the most expensive structure out there. Finally, when that was done, he said, now I will be able to announce to all the Arabs that we have a better place that they can visit. We have a better place that they can do pilgrimage to. And we have now this church in the heart of Yemen. And they should come and visit this for free. So one of the Arabs, who was perhaps from this northern part of Arabia, he defecated in that church. It was his way of showing Abraha
that you and your wealth is not worthy of distracting us from the Kaaba. Even though Arabs polluted Kaaba with idols, with idolatry, but they still had the most reverence for the Kaaba, despite all the wrong things that they were doing. And they would not tolerate anything else. And they knew that whatever respect they were getting by all Arabs was because of the Kaaba. So when this happened, Abraha became outraged. And he started interrogating, investigating who did this. Someone told him that one of the Arabs from the north has come here and he is the one who defecated our church, our very expensive and luxurious church. So he became very upset and he decided to prepare his army to go and attack the Kaaba and demolish, destroy it. That was his ultimate goal. So he prepared an army of 60,000. And this was the strongest army perhaps in the history of Arabia until then. And it was well armed, well prepared. And he said, anybody who will come in our way and try to stop us will get killed. So nobody really challenged them until one tribe, perhaps it was Banu Nufayl or another tribe, that did try to challenge Abraha and his army, and they got defeated badly. So Abraha went on, and he arrived in a place called Taif. So in Taif, he challenged the people, and he told them, my intention is to go to Makkah, attack the Kaaba, demolish and destroy the Kaaba. So anybody who will come in my way, I will destroy them as well. So primarily, people of Taif, they moved out of his way. There was one man who decided to help Abraha and his army. And he said, I am a local, I know all the ways, and I will become your guide, and I will lead you to Makkah. And guess who that man was? That man was Abu Rigal. Abu Rigal was that filthy person, miserable person, who decided to help someone in demolishing the Kaaba, in destroying the Kaaba. So whatever happened to Abraha and his army, same thing happened to Abu Rigal as well. So later on, Arabs used to throw stones on the grave of Abu Rigal, and they used to say he's the most treacherous man. He betrayed Makkans, he betrayed his own people, he betrayed Arabs, and Arabs were not known for treachery. They were known to be very loyal. Despite their practices of idolatry, they were known for their loyalty. So they said Abu Rigal is the one who broke those traditions, who violated those traditions, and helped the enemy against his own people. So then he was known for khiyana. Whenever someone would commit any kind of betrayal, any kind of treachery, they would refer to him as Abu Rigal of the people. Because Abu Rigal was the one who sided with Abraha and his army in helping to demolish and destroy the Kaaba. So he brought them here, and finally they arrived in this place called Al-Muhassab, Wadi Al-Muhassab. It's near Mina. As a matter of fact, some part of it is touching the boundaries of Arafat. So this valley called Al-Muhassab is a valley where Abraha camped. He brought his elephants, he brought his army, they all camped over there. And then he sent one of his ambassadors to Makkah, and he said, find the leader of Makkans and speak to him and tell him, our intention is not to fight with the people, our intention is to just destroy and demolish the Kaaba. So if anyone will come in our way, we will kill him as well. and if no one comes in our way, their lives will be spared. We will accomplish our mission, and then we will go back. We're not here to take over. So this man went to Mecca and he started asking, who is the leader? Who's the most noble person among all Arabs, among all Meccans at that time? So everyone pointed to the grandfather of our beloved Prophet ﷺ called Abdul Muttalib. Everyone said Abdul Muttalib is the leader and he is the most noble and most trustworthy person among all of us. So he went to Abdul Muttalib. And by then, some of the soldiers of Abraha, they raided the pastures belonging to the Meccans and they stole their animals. They stole their flocks, they stole their sheep, their goats, and their camels. And among the cattle that they stole, there were 200 camels that belonged to Abdul Muttalib. So Abdul Muttalib already found out that his 200 camels are now gone. They're stolen by Abraha and his army. So this man comes to Abdul Muttalib from the army of Abraha, and he says, my boss, my king has sent me to you to tell you our intentions, why we are here, and what we are looking to accomplish, and what we want from you. So he said, we just want to destroy the Kaaba, and we don't want any interference in achieving our mission. If anyone will come in our way, we will kill that person. And if no one comes in our way, their lives will be spared. So Abdul Muttalib, he said, look, I have no problem. I don't know what your problem is with the Kaaba. We are just the custodians of the Kaaba. But the Kaaba has its master and its Lord, to whom it belongs. So I'm not worried about the Kaaba. You can do to Kaaba whatever you want to do, because the Kaaba has its Lord who will protect it if he wants to, and if he doesn't want to protect it, we are no one to protect it. We don't have the strength, we don't have the manpower, and we don't have the soldiers to protect and defend the Kaaba. So if he wants to destroy it, and the Lord of this house does not want to defend it, we're not going to come in the way. But he said, the 200 camels that you stole from me, those are mine. So I want those back. If you can just return me my camels, because they are mine, and I'm their master, I'm their owner, and that's all my worry. So this man, he said, you seem like a very reasonable person. Why don't you come and meet with my king Abraha and explain yourself to him in your own words. So he brought Abdul Muttalib back to Abraha to meet with him. Abdul Muttalib was a very honorable person, and he had this awe even in his personality. So when Abraha looked at Abdul Muttalib, he got up from his chair or from his throne, and he came down and he sat on the floor alongside with Abdul Muttalib. And he had a one-on-one conversation with Abdul Muttalib. And he said, look, my ambassador has already told you why we are here. So if you want to say something, you can say it. Abdul Muttalib said the same thing, which has been mentioned in the books of history. He said, I am just an ordinary person, and I am not someone who can defend the Kaaba, who can protect the Kaaba. The Kaaba has its Lord who can protect it and defend it if he wants to. I only worry about my camels because they are mine, and I want you to give them back to me. That's all. So Abraha said, I thought very highly of you. I thought you would talk about bigger things. I thought you would talk about the community, the people, and the Kaaba. Instead, you only worry about yourself. He said, that's all I can worry about. I do not worry about the Kaaba because it's not mine. It's Allah's. And Allah, if He wants to protect and defend it, He can and He will. I will not come in the way. So Abraha said, you are very reasonable. And he ordered the camels of Abdul Muttalib to be released and given back to Abdul Muttalib. Abdul Muttalib took his camels and he came back to Makkah and he started going door to door in Makkah and he told people, you all need to get out of the city, go onto the mountains and protect yourselves and protect your families. Do not worry about the Kaaba. The Kaaba is the responsibility of the Lord of the Kaaba, Rabbul Kaaba. So they all went away. Abdul Muttalib was the last person to leave Makkah. And so Abdul Muttalib, before leaving Makkah, he went to the Kaaba. He held on to the cover of the Kaaba, the sadr of the Kaaba, and he said these words. He made this dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he said, Allahumma inna al-abda yamna'u rahla famna' halal. He said, oh Allah, a person rushes to protect his family, protect what belongs to him. So Allah, I ask you to protect what belongs to you. Your house belongs to you, so I ask you to protect your house and defend it. لا يغلبن صليبهم ومحالهم غدوا محالا. Oh Allah, we do not want the cross of these people because they were Christians. He said, oh Allah, we do not want the cross of these people who worship the cross to defeat your Kaaba. إن كنت تاركهم وقبلتنا فأمر ما بدالك. And then he said, oh Allah, if you decide to leave our Qibla at the mercy of these enemies, then it's your decision and it is your authority. You do what you see right. And then he cried. He cried a lot while holding on to the cover of the Kaaba. And then he left. So Abraha, the next day, he decided to invade the Kaaba. So he ordered his elephants to start moving in the direction of Makkah. And they were in this valley called Al-Muhassab, near Arafat, which is about 9 kilometers away from Masjid al-Haram. So when they tried to move the elephants, there was one elephant which was the leader of all other elephants, and that elephant was called Mahmud. So they would push that elephant to move in the direction of Kaaba towards Masjid al-Haram, and it wouldn't move. It would sit down, and when an elephant sits down, no matter how much power you have, you cannot move it. So they could not move it. They would poke it from the left, from the right, from the front, from the back, and the elephant wouldn't move. And when they would try to move it in opposite direction, it would get up and start moving. But it wouldn't move in the direction of Masjid al-Haram. It was refusing to go in that direction. So finally, all other elephants that were following this elephant, they stopped as well and they wouldn't move. And because of these elephants, they were counting on the strength of these animals in demolishing the Kaaba. They could not move. And all of a sudden, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent the army of birds. In that same place, in the valley called Al-Muhassab, these birds started coming from the direction of Jeddah. Jeddah is on the side of Red Sea. So from that direction, all of a sudden, this massive flock of birds called ababil. And ababil is not a massive bird like an eagle or a vulture or something like that. These are tiny, tiny birds. And you can see these birds even today in Makkah. They're always flying around the Kaaba. Those are ababil. that are always flying around the Kaaba, and many times they're literally making tawaf of the Kaaba. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent this army of birds to defend the Kaaba and destroy the army of Abraham. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not have to send lions from another place, which Allah would have sent. Allah can create anything, anytime, from anywhere. If Allah wanted to send lions, lions would have come. If Allah wanted to send dinosaurs, dinosaurs would have come. If Allah wanted to send angels, angels would have come. Anything could have come to defend the Kaaba, because Allah wanted to defend it. But Allah decided to show Abraha and his army that he can do so by these tiny birds called ababil. وَمَا يَعْلَمُ جُنُودَ رَبِّكَ إِلَّا هُ. Your Lord's armies are only known to him. Only he knows how and when he will use his army. So these birds, they started coming in this direction. Think about the fighter jets. All of a sudden, you have these massive fighter jets, a large battalion that's coming this way. And they come, and each bird has a pebble in its beak. A pebble! But those pebbles are sharper and more lethal than the bullets that we have today. And you know the words that Allah uses in Quran, tarmihim. They were shooting. Rami is to shoot, literally. We use the word rami when you shoot arrows. Rami bil hajar. So when you shoot arrows, you use the word rami. When you shoot with the gun, you use the word rami as well. When you shoot missiles, you use the word rami as well. So these birds were literally shooting those pebbles onto the army of Abraham. And those missiles or those stones were not missing the targets that they were intended for. They were guided missiles. So whatever they would hit, whatever soldier they would hit, whatever elephant or animal they would hit, they would start melting, literally. That's how lethal they were. So majority of these 60,000 soldiers got killed right there on the spot. Some of them, they started running away from the spot, from that site, Wadi al-Muhassab, and they started going back towards Yemen. Abraha was one of them who survived, who left from there. But he survived not because he was going to live after that. He reached Yemen in that miserable condition, so people could see what happens to those who try to demolish the Kaaba, who try to destroy and attack the house of Allah. He became an example. فَاعْتَبِرُوا يَا أُولِي الْأَبْصَارِ. So Allah would show to people that this is what happens. So the reason why this happened, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was going to show people that this place is very special to Allah. Kaaba was built by the friend of Allah, Ibrahim alayhi salam, Khalilullah. He was built by the son of the Khalilullah, Ismail alayhi salam, and now it was going to come under the care of the last prophet of Allah. This event was going to mark that point in history where the new beginning was about to happen for Arabs. And the nation that was let down, the nation that had sunk into darkness, was going to turn into leaders for the entire humanity, led by none other than our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So that is the year called Amul Fil. That is the year in which our beloved Prophet ﷺ was born. This event happened not too long before the birth of our beloved Prophet ﷺ. Maybe about 4 to 5 months before the birth of the Prophet ﷺ. So everyone knew very clearly, remembered everything very vividly about what happened in Makkah, and how this year was going to be remembered forever as the year of elephants.
So the Prophet ﷺ was born in this city after these events that happened that mark a new chapter in the history of Arabia. We will continue our story of our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Wa akhiru da'wana an alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Any questions? سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد ان لا اله الا انت نستغفرك ونتوب اليك. اللهم صل وسلم على عبدك ورسولك. اللهم صل على سيدنا مولانا محمد افضل صلواتك. اللهم انا نسالك الهدى والتقى والعفاف والغنى. اللهم انا نسالك العفو والعافيه والمعافاه الدائمه في الدين والدنيا والاخره. اللهم حبب الينا الايمان وزينه في قلوبنا وكره الينا الكفر والفسوق والعصيان واجعلنا من الراشدين. اللهم استر عوراتنا وامن روعاتنا. اللهم احفظنا من بين ايدينا ومن خلفنا وعن يميننا وعن شمالنا ومن فوقنا وان نغتال من تحتنا. اللهم اعز الاسلام والمسلمين. اللهم انصر المسلمين المظلومين. اللهم انصر المسلمين المستضعفين. اللهم الف بين قلوبنا واصلح ذات بيننا ونجنا من الظلمات الى النور وجنبنا الفواحش ما ظهر منها وما بطن. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. وصلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Inshallah, we will